The tax policy of Pakistan is centered around revenue generation, right? And it is a natural outcome why people collect tax. The government collects tax for it. But it is viewed as it is so poorly positioned in Pakistan that it does not incentivize anybody participating in that space. And I'll tell you what that means. Tax policy should be used as an incentive tool. You know, revenue is like level one. Get revenue. That's level one. But you think about tax and in level 2, 3, and 4. What does it mean for us? What does participation mean for us? And it cannot be in Urdu, as you say, the danda approach, right? It's got to be an incentive approach. People must want to participate in that. Now, how do you do that, right? Well, you create incentives for people who are in the tax net. Example, again, because of my experience in the US, most of the examples are from there. Tax policy was used to say, hey, if you are a single mother and you go to school to invest in yourself, you'll get blah, blah, blah deductions, right? Imagine the impact of that incentive. Energy savers are being more, green in your structures of homes. Tax, right? Tax is, the revenue is just level one of the problem. Our entire thought process should be that it's got to be there as an incentive tool so that the majority of your country engages in that. Now, what happens when a lot of people who will likely in Pakistan's tax structure not pay taxes, even if they're engaged in the tax policy, they will not pay taxes. What happens? But they get incentives. So now they're engaging in it. The digitization, engaging with fintech now becomes very natural to them. Today, the tax is positioned as, we're going to tax you because we need money from you to run the government. And people are not looking at things beyond that. That mindset, when you look at any policy, that mindset has to be very different. Policies succeed when you create an incentive structure, not a structure of control and like we're after you. It's got to be an incentive structure. We must truly respect the people of our developing country by trusting their intelligence that they will engage in that. You can't position tax like, hey, we are low on revenue, we need fiscal discipline, we need you to pay more money. Because then the natural question from the locals becomes, well, if I give money, what am I getting in return? And it's a vicious cycle that never ends. But if you reposition tax, that we have all these incentives, you focus on that, come engage in this so that incentive can be given to you. An incentive culture always works better than a culture of control and punishment. It doesn't work. Policies should be geared towards that, obviously framed in a way because you do have people who will want to avoid things, and so it happens everywhere, developed and underdeveloped markets. But the mindset has to be very different. And I find it frankly very disrespectful to our local and to the people of Pakistan when you're only thinking control, you're only thinking restrictions, you're assuming a negative experience with them, right? Assume a practical experience from them where they will obviously not want to pay taxes when they don't have to. It's human nature globally, where you don't want to obviously do tax fraud, but everybody is focusing on like, how can I minimize my tax burden? It's very natural. Accountants, CFAs exist for that, right? Accept that, but incentivize that. Like that for tax policy, the technology policy will have has to have a very similar mindset. Technologists must want to be engaging in that, must feel like it's going to help. And the technology policy has to be global success oriented. Not, with all due respect, I know freelancers is a great way of earning revenue. I encourage it. It's better than a lot of options, but that cannot be our end goal.